the Browns are finally ready to take the first steps into their new home.
Life for us having a permanent home will change.
Hey everybody, so this is the group, the combined wolf packs, getting ready to move back to Alaska.
Even though the garden's not ready yet, we still found some other edible plants on the island.
The cameras may have stopped rolling, but the real-life saga of the Brown family has become more intense than anything viewers saw during their years on television. Once hailed as a tight-knit group surviving off the grid in harsh wilderness, the Browns are now entangled in emotional rifts, legal showdowns, and medical emergencies that have thrust them back into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. What was once a show about resilience and rustic charm has evolved into a real-life drama filled with unanswered questions, public betrayals, and courtroom revelations. Fans who remember the family as rugged survivalists now watch from afar as the clan fights not just nature but each other. With rumors flying, relationships unraveling, and secrets surfacing in courtrooms and police reports, the Browns have entered a new chapter. One where survival isn't about building cabins or hunting elk, but about keeping their family intact. And yet, even amid the chaos, glimpses of love and loyalty still flicker. But how did things spiral so far from the off-grid ideals Billy Brown once preached? What exactly is happening behind closed doors, and is there any hope of redemption? Today we peel back the curtain on the Browns' most dramatic era yet, one that was never scripted, never edited, and never meant for TV. This is the real story you weren't supposed to see. For nearly a decade, Alaskan bush people captivated audiences by offering a glimpse into the lives of a family determined to live far from civilization. Billy Brown, the charismatic patriarch, led his wife Amora Ami and their 7 children through the harsh terrain of first Alaska and then Washington's mountains, where they constructed cabins, foraged for food, and lived without the comforts most Americans take for granted. But more than the off-grid lifestyle, it was the family's bond, their deep, imperfect, and often messy connection that drew viewers in and kept them watching season after season. The series began in 2014 and ran through 2022, documenting the growth, struggles, and personal triumphs of each family member. Tragedy struck in February 2021 when Billy passed away from a seizure at the age of 68, leaving behind a legacy of independence and unity. His death marked a turning point for the show. Though the family filmed one more season, the energy had clearly shifted. Discovery Channel never announced a formal cancellation, but no episodes aired after 2022. The silence was deafening. As fans waited for either a return or a farewell, neither came. It was as if the wilderness fell quiet all at once, leaving behind only memories of a time when the Browns were the wolf pack, bound by grit, love, and the wild. The screen may have gone dark, but the story was far from over. Just ask those watching the headlines. In the wake of Billy's death and the unceremonious end of Alaskan bush people, Bear Brown stepped up as the unlikely torchbearer of the family's legacy. Known for his wild antics, tree-climbing stunts, and untamed energy, Bear surprised fans when he announced a new spin-off series in early 2024, Alaskan Bush People, Behind the Scenes with Bear Brown. Promising an unfiltered look at what life was really like when the cameras weren't rolling, Bear teased intimate family moments, filming challenges, and revelations the original series never touched. He wanted to show fans the real Brown family. No scripts, no gimmicks, just raw survival and personal truths. Alongside this announcement, Bear launched a small online store selling branded merchandise, interacted regularly with fans on social media, and built momentum for the summer 2024 premiere. But summer came and went, and not a single episode aired. By mid-2025, the spin-off remained unreleased, with no network pickup, no schedule, and no further updates. Bear, once vocal and enthusiastic, fell silent about the project, leaving supporters confused and disappointed. What happened? Was it production delays, funding issues, or internal family tension? No answers came. It appeared Bear's vision for a second act fizzled before it ever had a chance to shine. For a moment, it seemed like he was the only Brown still willing to be in the spotlight, but even he couldn't carry the family's name alone. As the silence stretched, fans began to ask if the spin-off was just a dream, or a casualty of deeper problems behind the scenes. Just when the Browns thought they could fade quietly into post-show life, a bombshell lawsuit dragged them back into the public eye. In 2022, a man named Robert Mann filed a claim against Billy Brown's estate, alleging that Billy had entered into a secret contract years earlier. According to Mann, Billy promised him 10% of all earnings from Alaskan Bush People and any related ventures, including books, merchandise, and appearances. Mann claimed he had even fronted Billy money for upcoming projects, believing he'd be repaid from future profits. But after Billy's death, those profits never arrived, prompting Mann to sue for a staggering $500,000. The legal responsibility fell to Ami Brown, Billy's widow, who became executor of the estate. At first, the family tried to block the case, but in 2023 a judge allowed it to proceed, opening the door to a legal nightmare. In a dramatic twist, Discovery Channel was ordered to release detailed financial records of every payment Billy received during his time on the show. Suddenly, the Browns' most guarded secrets, contracts, salaries, asset ownership, were on the table. Legal documents revealed Billy's estate included livestock, real estate, rare coins, and jewelry, all valued in the hundreds of thousands. The lawsuit didn't just expose financial details, it cracked open the carefully guarded world of the Browns, revealing just how complicated life had become after the cameras stopped rolling. What started as a reality show ended with real courtrooms and claims that shook the family's legacy at its core. As if one lawsuit wasn't enough, tensions exploded further when Bear Brown launched his own legal claim against the family estate, alleging that he was promised a fair share of the show's profits but never received what was due. Bear, once the most loyal and vocal of Billy's children, appeared disillusioned and ready to confront what he viewed as a betrayal of trust. While the details of his case remain largely sealed, what's known is that Bear pointed fingers not just at outside influences but directly at how the estate was being managed under his mother, Amy. For a family that publicly emphasized unity and loyalty, the optics were devastating. Court filings suggested Bear believed he had been cut out or misled, possibly due to behind-the-scenes agreements Billy made before his death. The irony wasn't lost on fans. Bear, the same son who tried to revive the family brand, was now suing the very legacy he once fought to protect. This move sparked speculation that deeper cracks existed within the family, and Bear's legal filings seemed to confirm that the family's once unbreakable bond had splintered beyond repair. Amy, who had been largely silent and reclusive since Billy's passing, suddenly found herself at the center of not just one but two major lawsuits. The matriarch was now being challenged both from the outside and from within her own bloodline, raising questions about trust, transparency, and what Billy truly left behind. This wasn't just a legal squabble, it was a family fracture playing out for the world to see. A bitter dispute no one could have predicted back when they were building cabins in the woods. In April 2025, the youngest Brown sibling, Rain, and her husband Josiah found themselves at the center of a headline-grabbing scandal that rocked the already embattled family. The couple was arrested in Washington state on charges of stealing over $171,000 worth of valuables from Josiah's own uncle. The alleged theft included $75,000 in cash, $85,000 in gold coins, high-end wine and champagne, and even firearms, 2 pistols and a revolver among them. According to the police report, Josiah was the only person who knew the hiding spots for these valuables, and security footage appeared to show him and Rain near the property in late March. The arrest came suddenly on April 11th, and both Rain and Josiah were held in jail until April 14th when they posted bail. Rain took to Instagram soon after, proclaiming her innocence and claiming people were believing lies. She also dropped another bombshell, accusing a former manager of stealing $43,000 from her, fueling speculation that financial desperation may have played a role in their arrest. Josiah also pleaded not guilty, and both now face a long legal process that could result in serious prison time. Fans were stunned. Rain had always been seen as the bright, introspective heart of the family. This wasn't the kind of drama anyone expected from her. The charges weren't just serious, they shattered the image Rain had carefully built over the years, and her defiant social media posts only added fuel to the fire. As the court case moves forward, more evidence may surface, including financial records and surveillance footage. Until then, Rain and Josiah remain free, but the weight of public judgment and possible incarceration looms large, casting a long shadow over the youngest members of the wolf pack. As Rain faced legal battles, Bear's personal life unraveled in a different but equally heartbreaking way. On April 21, 2025, Bear and his wife Raven jointly announced their separation via matching Instagram posts, confirming the end of their marriage just 3 years after tying the knot. The couple, who had weathered ups and downs including previous breakups and reconciliations, stated that the decision was mutual and made with love. They emphasized their ongoing friendship and dedication to co-parenting their 3 sons River, Cove, and Everest. Bear described Raven as the love of his life and asked fans to avoid negativity, while Raven explained that despite their efforts, the marriage was no longer working and that they were prioritizing peace for the sake of their children. This wasn't their first split, but it felt final. Fans who had rooted for their love story since their engagement in 2019 were hit hard. Raven had stood by Bear through his father's death, legal pressures, and the burden of public scrutiny, and their posts suggested there was no animosity, just heartbreak and resignation. The announcement stood in stark contrast to the chaos unfolding elsewhere in the family. Here was a quiet, respectful goodbye in a world that seemed to be falling apart. And yet the separation marked another loss for Bear, who was already grappling with legal battles over his father's estate and the failure of his spin-off. Once again, Bear found himself in the public eye, not as a wild adventurer, but as a single father trying to hold his world together. While Raven moved forward with grace, Bear continued to share moments with his kids online, doing his best to stay strong. But behind every post, fans could sense the exhaustion, the kind that comes from losing not just a partner, but the dream of a future built together. In a twist that deepened the family's turmoil, a startling incident came to light involving Noah Brown, who requested a welfare check on his mother Amy and sister Rain in early April 2025. Noah told police he feared for their safety, claiming Amy had stopped taking her medication, was behaving erratically, and that Rain and Josiah might have influenced her with substances. He reported that Rain had started treating Josiah like a messiah figure and expressed concern over the presence of guns in the home. The visit resulted in no immediate charges, but the check was recorded and would later resurface in court documents connected to Rain's burglary case. Shockingly, this wasn't the first time Noah had sounded the alarm. In August 2024, he filed for a restraining order against Rain, accusing her of drug use, threats, and offering their mother cocaine. Though the court denied the request due to lack of evidence, it showed a clear fracture within the family. Noah's actions were driven by concern, but they painted a disturbing picture, a family imploding from within. Rain quickly denied the allegations, stating on social media that Noah was lying and that she was devastated by his accusations. The public was now caught in the crossfire, watching what was once TV's closest-knit wilderness family unravel in real time. What had once been a clan united by isolation was now divided by paranoia, police reports, and trauma. And while the court had yet to weigh in on the truth of these claims, one thing was clear. Noah no longer trusted his sister, and the emotional scars left by this betrayal might be deeper than anything the family had endured in the wild. While legal drama and family fractures consumed headlines, the matriarch of the Brown family, Amy, was quietly fighting for her life behind the scenes. In February 2025, she was rushed to the hospital with severe chest pain and respiratory issues. Doctors diagnosed her with a dangerous case of pneumonia that left her struggling to breathe. Things escalated quickly. She was airlifted to a larger medical center, placed into a medically induced coma, and connected to a ventilator so her lungs could rest. For days, the family held their breath. Snowbird, Amy's daughter, kept fans informed with brief updates, while Bear revealed just how close they came to losing her. Her oxygen levels had plummeted, and the decision to intubate her was made in the hope that it would keep her alive through the worst of the illness. After days in intensive care, the breathing tube was removed, and Amy began to regain consciousness. By mid-February, she was transferred out of ICU and began a slow recovery at home with the help of family and nurses. This medical scare brought a rare moment of unity to the fractured family, with members setting aside conflicts to focus on Amy's survival. It also reignited public concern and sympathy, reminding fans of Amy's resilience. After all, she had survived stage 3 lung cancer back in 2017, defying the odds once before. As she recovered quietly at home, her presence remained the emotional anchor of a family spinning in different directions. Though she stayed off social media, her children spoke of her strength, asking fans for privacy and prayers. For a family so publicly embroiled in chaos, Amy's fight to live became a symbolic reminder of the roots they once shared, of the love that had originally defined the Wolfpack. Her illness cast a new light on everything, showing that amid courtroom battles and Instagram statements, there was still something sacred worth fighting for. By mid-2025, the Brown family is no longer a single unit, but a collection of individuals walking very different and often conflicting paths. Noah Brown, once seen as the quiet peacemaker, has distanced himself almost entirely from the rest of the family. His calls to law enforcement, his failed restraining order, and his repeated concerns about his mother's safety suggest a man pushed to the edge, either by fear, truth, or paranoia. He now lives in Washington with his wife and kids, posting infrequently and showing no signs of reconnecting with his siblings. Rain, burdened by her legal troubles and estrangement from Noah, has taken to social media to plead her case and defend her integrity. Accused of theft and targeted with substance abuse claims, she insists she's innocent, hurt by betrayal, and trying to stay strong under mounting pressure. Bear remains the most public face of the family. His marriage may have ended, and his lawsuit may be pending, but he still posts updates with his children, clings to the family name, and interacts with fans who remember the better days. Gabe Brown has largely disappeared from view. Married with children, he's kept silent on the family's legal woes and personal disputes, perhaps choosing peace over publicity. Joshua Bam Brown has withdrawn as well, staying far from the spotlight and rumored to have private disagreements with production or even relatives, though he's never confirmed any of it. Birdie Snowbird remains quietly devoted to Amy, standing by her during the medical emergency, offering a softer and more private kind of loyalty. She doesn't comment on legal matters or family fights, and instead shares her love for animals and nature, keeping the original spirit of the wolf pack alive in subtle ways. And then there's Matt Brown, the estranged oldest brother who left the show years ago to battle his addictions in private. Now living in California, Matt occasionally posts about recovery and sobriety, encouraging others to find strength in solitude. He rarely mentions his family, but his journey seems to embody a kind of survival that no wilderness training could ever teach. Together, the Browns now live like separate chapters in a book that was once written together. The idea of the wolf pack, a family bound by love, resilience, and shared hardship, once captured the imagination of millions. They were more than TV characters. They were symbols of defiance against modern life, a reminder that unity and grit could carve out a place in even the harshest of lands. But today, that image feels like a fading memory, with lawsuits flying, police reports circulating, and accusations tearing at the foundation they once built together. It's hard to say whether the wolf pack can ever truly return. Some of the Browns have chosen solitude, others have clung to visibility, a few have spoken their truths, while others remain silent, letting fans draw their own conclusions. What's clear is that the glue that once held them together, their father Billy, is gone, and the vacuum left behind has been filled not with healing, but with chaos. Each sibling now carries their own version of the past, their own wounds and their own hopes for the future. Emmy, though frail, remains the last common thread. Her presence still matters, still holds weight, even if the family around her has scattered like leaves in the wind. Maybe one day they'll return, not to the screen but to each other. Or maybe the fractures are too deep to mend. Either way, the story of the Browns has moved far beyond cabin building and bear hunting. It's now about survival of a different kind, emotional, legal, and spiritual. And while the show may be over, the saga continues in a way no one expected, unscripted, unfiltered, and utterly human. So now we ask, was the wilderness ever their biggest enemy, or was it the storm inside their own walls that truly tested the Brown family's survival? From remote mountaintops to courtroom benches, the wolf pack has faced loss, betrayal, and collapse, yet somewhere in the ashes, there's still the faint heartbeat of a bond forged in fire. What do you think? Can the Browns ever rebuild what they once had, or is this truly the final chapter in their wild legacy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this deep dive eye-opening, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories you won't hear anywhere else. And don't go just yet. Check out the next video on your screen for another unbelievable update you don't want to miss. This video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. It is based on publicly available information, news reports, social media posts, and court filings. All opinions expressed are our own and do not represent any official statements from the individuals mentioned. While we aim to present facts accurately, certain parts of this video may include speculation, allegations, or rumors which are clearly identified as such and should not be interpreted as verified facts. Viewers are encouraged to do their own research and draw their own conclusions. All individuals are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law.